back to the channel. On the last episode, we stripped this thing down. I got pretty much everything broken apart. I got a pile of garbage over there. I'm going to show you guys the new parts that I got for the mini bike, and we're going to start cleaning this thing up and getting the motor cleaned up, pretty much get everything ready for paint, and probably do some painting in this episode too. So be ready for that. I got some more stuff from Go Power Sports. On the mini bike, when we first put the motor in, I didn't have a chain guard on it. It was one thing the kid was afraid of, like catching his leg on the chain. So cool enough, Go Power Sports makes these, and I got one of those to go on it. And oh yeah, this is cool. Get rid of that. This is actually like a clear little valve cover for the Predator 212 that I picked up. You don't need it. He'll think it's cool though, you know, being able to see like the valves move and stuff when the engine's going. Kind of trick. The old seat on the mini bike was roasted. It was pretty shot. I got this from Monster Scooter Parts. They make stuff for the MBX 11. One cool thing and one reason I'm pretty much like rebuilding this thing and not just junking it and, you know, getting something else. I mean, for one, it's a good mini bike frame. The shocks on the front on these MBX 11s are like super rare in like the mini bike community or whatever, and pretty sought after. It's like the only like set of shock forks out there that were ever put stock on like a mini bike chassis that you could find. So like guys go out there and are, you know, if you can find them, I think Go Power Sports sells a set, but like they're pretty much out of stock. So if you can find a set, you know, if you're doing like a Doodlebug rebuild or something like that and you want front shocks, they're really hard to find. So kind of cool that he has, you know, that mini bike. Anyway, they have a seat for it. This will work on the MBX 10 and the MBX 11. So I got a new one of these. I got him some Pro Tapper grips to go with like the red and black theme, and I got some header wrap from Sun Plus Trade. It was just off Amazon. Just some like black header wrap that we'll put on the exhaust. I'm not gonna get another header. I am gonna try and bend that one with the acetylene torch and see if I can't make that fit, and then I'll probably hit it with some high heat paint. Some like barbecue grill paint or whatever, and after like putting it through like the sandblasting cabinet, and you know, hit it with some high heat paint, and then put header wrap on it, and I think it'll be all right. I don't have to bend it that much. I want to straighten it out a bit because it was sitting like off to the side and it wasn't like center of the frame, and I think if I just I can either like, I'll just heat it up and bend it, and I think it'll be all right. And if it, you know, if it messes it up, then I'll go and shoot out the cash for a new header. But they're actually like kind of expensive. You know, the cheapest one that I could find was like $49 that would have worked for his bike, and they kind of go up from there with like a little like muffler on them. They're like up to $70, which is kind of crazy. And I don't have the stuff here right now to cut and re-weld, you know, the one he has. So we're gonna have to try and bend it. I might get the oxygen for the torch or for the welder in here soon. That bottle's gonna cost us like 200 bucks, and my dad was gonna flip the bill on that one. So we'll see if that happens before Christmas. If not, you know, that's all right. This is a little different than his, I think. All right, so the one I ordered from Monster go-kart parts, or Monster mini bike parts, or whatever, scooter parts, it is a little different. I think it'll work though. The holes are in different locations. on this, so we just need to drill some new holes. It looks like I could probably use this back one, but that's not really a big deal. Might trim these fenders, this back fender too. I probably won't trim the front fender, but I might trim the back fender and just kind of make it look, you know, different than other bikes out there. I mean, it's just plastic, so, you know, why not just get rid of that junk. Anyway, this will work out. So we got, you know, new seat, new chain guard and new fenders and stuff for it. I have a new chain coming. I have a new brake lever coming, and new brake cable. The brake caliper on his will work just fine. I'll freshen it up and repaint it. The pads on it, I think I replaced like last year, so those are good. I got a new twist throttle coming for the bike. Just something else I picked up off Amazon, and I got a new kill switch on Amazon too. The one that was on his, it was still good, but the wrapping on it was like really brittle and cracking, and so I mean it was like $5.99 for a new one on Amazon. I just went ahead and picked one of those up too. So in this episode, we'll get the motor freshened up. I am going to tape off all of the holes and stuff, and anything else that I don't want to hit in the blast cabinet. But I have glass bead in there right now, and we'll drain the oil out of this thing, tape off anything we don't want hit, or you know, any of the ports or anything like that. I'll cover up, and I'll hit the block pretty much with the glass bead, just to get like some of the scale off of it, and you know, make it look good again. You know, it's aluminum, it's kind of pitted, and glass bead will clean that up like really good. It should actually kind of give it like a cool etching. When I was when I worked on aircraft parts, I used to repair and overhaul Boeing parts, and we would pretty much like refinish some stuff with glass bead to make it look good. Either before we CAD plated it, or before we put some kind of like treatment on it, like what they use. They use like an iodine, which is supposed to be like a corrosion preventative for aluminum before you paint it. I don't have any of that. I can't really get my hands on it, but blasting it just really lightly with glass bead will freshen up the aluminum, and I won't have to get in there and like really like clean real hardcore. You know, the glass bead will get in there and get it all evenly, and it'll make it look real nice. These I'm going to polish, these right here, and then I'll probably tape this all off and put these in the cabinet, get the stickers off of them and clean them up real good. Go through the bike on anywhere that there's bearings, and freshen up the bearings. Let's see, this cover, I think with the cover I can probably just scuff it up. I got some Scotch-Brite and I got some acetone to clean stuff with, and I'll probably, can I take that switch out of there? I don't think I can. So we'll just tape around that, and we'll scuff up this whole thing, get it ready for paint, get it all taped off. The gas tank for the engine, pretty much not going to do anything with. I might paint it if everything, like, you know, looks nicer than the gas tank. The paint that I got, I'm pretty sure I got like the high heat paint, because it was the only one I could find that was like resistant to chemicals, was like engine paint. So hopefully that turns out okay, and it doesn't look like crap when we spray it. I'm gonna spray pretty much anything for the motor and the frame. You know, all the black is gonna be done with engine paint. So hopefully, if, like, you know, the kid decides to, you know, fill up the mini bike with gas and overspills on it, it's not gonna like bubble up the paint or, you know, anything like that. These I'm not gonna do anything with. They're already black. I'm just gonna leave them like this. We're not gonna paint them at all, and I think that'll be fine. Anyways, let's get to work and get all this stuff cleaned up. guys can see, I got her pretty cleaned up. There's still a few spots on here that are dirty, and I didn't drain the oil out of it. You know, that wasn't really a big deal. You know, it's just a mini bike. It's not going to be like 100% perfect, but we got it really cleaned up. Really happy. You know, the parts are going to look sweet on this thing, and you know, it looks 100 times better than it did before. Like I said, there's still some greasy spots. You know, there's some stuff I couldn't get. I might, you know, get a little more detailed with a little bit of acetone or something like that. You know, I didn't want to go too crazy on it, but you know, the glass bead does a good job. It kind of dulls everything out, but you know, it got all the scale off of it. You know, I got a lot of the grease out of, you know, these fins and stuff like that it would have been like, you know, a pain in the ass otherwise. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty nice. So, oh, the other thing I need to do is clean up the carburetor. We'll do that here in a minute, and clean up the coil too. But yeah, this is looking a lot better. It'll look really good when we get all the stuff on it. I want to take this off and put a clear one on there. Let's see what that looks like real quick. See what these valves look like too. You know, I took when I first got this thing, you know, these engines are like, you know, $100 from Harbor Freight, and sometimes you can get them a little less, but I've always found them for like $99.99. You know, or whenever I've seen them, they've been listed for that at Harbor Freight. You know, $100. I, you know, got this thing, pulled the governor out of it, put a different jet in it. I don't remember what jet I put in there, but I did put a different jet in it, and I didn't put any stiffer valve springs in it or anything like that. You know, so when he like revs it out, you know, as high as it's gonna go, you know, it kind of floats on the valves a little bit, and you know, it's lasted that long, you know. So I'm really impressed with these little engines. I don't know what the clearance is supposed to be on those, but we might want to check those. I don't think those are supposed to be. I don't know how loose those are supposed to be. Maybe 5/1000ths. I don't know. I have to look up. What the spacing on those is and check those and adjust the valves and make sure those are good. And that's really all I'm gonna do to tune the thing up. I'll put a new spark plug in it, you know, but it's had the same plug, and it hasn't skipped a beat yet. It's started every time and hasn't had one issue, and the oil actually didn't look that bad. Now this is gonna be cool. This is like $25. You know, it's kind of like a vanity thing, but I thought the kid would think it was a trick. You know, oh, that's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet. He's gonna think that's crazy. Let's get this on here. I'm not even gonna bother putting any RTV on this thing or anything. I don't think it really needs it, you know, for a cork gasket. I mean, you don't put RV sealant on your, you know, valve covers on your car. That'd be kind of a pain in the ass, unless they're Chevy valve covers. Then you might have to. I'm just kidding. I like Chevys. I don't, when it comes to like brands, I don't have a favorite brand. I like them all. I've never owned a Dodge, you know, but I like Mopar. Dodges are expensive in my opinion, although anything really can be, you know, but if I was going to get a Dodge, I'd probably want a Hemi, you know, not a new Hemi, like an older Hemi. Just going to snug these up. If it leaks, I'll snug them a little bit more, but this acrylic, I don't want to crack the acrylic. Then I guess I'll trim this down. Stick that in there. I don't want that thing to. We'll trim it down later when we get it on the bike, but man, that's cool. That is trick. All right, let's get the carburetor cleaned up and get the carburetor on this thing too. We'll kind of go a little ways with the motor, just see how some of the parts look on it. I want to see this thing. Let's get this thing cleaned up real quick. Anyway, we're going to take a break on the motor. I still got the frame and everything else to get done. We're going to set this off to the side. Alright guys, it's been a pretty long process of getting everything painted. I got almost everything done. I need to do the rims still. I'm not going to take the tires off the rims. I'm just going to really clean them up and then tape off everything, scuff up the rims, and I'm going to actually shoot those gray. I decided to go with just straight black on the chain guard. I thought about doing it in red, but I think I want to do mostly black on this thing and just little hints of red I think will look cool. On the handlebars, I was thinking about painting them black, but I would have had to pretty much strip all the chrome off. If you guys have ever tried to paint over the top of even like scuffed up chrome, it doesn't take long for that stuff to just peel up and flake off. So instead, I took a Scotch-Brite pad and I scuffed up the chrome so it pretty much looks like brushed metal. Finding hardware for this thing, I thought about replacing most of the hardware that was visible so it all looked like new hardware. To the hardware store and I couldn't find a matching thread. So the hardware I'm going to pretty much like put in the blast cabinet and clean up as good as I can. I might paint some of it, you know, to make it look nice. The shocks turned out all right. I polished up the tubes as much as I could. They're still pitting from, you know, like 5 years of being out in the weather. And I think most of the pitting came out and, you know, it's not really going to be noticeable. I didn't polish them. I just kind of like brushed them with Scotch-Brite too. I did take a blue die grinder pad to them and tried to get out all of the pitting. Anyway, those turned out all right. I'm pleased with those. The engine turned out really good. I didn't paint the tank. I did clean it up. As you can see, I painted the shroud on it. You know, the spray paint, a couple things didn't turn out. I had some like paint react with other paint and it bubbled up really bad. And that's why it's actually taken me so long to get this video done. You know, I had to blast them and then repaint them, and most everything turned out good. I tried to get some different foot pegs for the bike. I ordered these off of Amazon. I was hoping they'd work out. I was kind of taking a shot in the dark, and they just are not going to work for the mini bike. The way that the little things are set up, I would have had to weld some tabs on there to keep these things from pretty much laying down when you put your foot on them instead of just staying upright. So what I did was I took the old foot pegs, I welded them back up, fixed the broken welds that were on them, and cleaned those up and painted those. So those look really good. I'm actually really happy with the way those turned out. The exhaust, I did take a torch to the exhaust and tried to bend it so that it would be in a position where it wouldn't melt the back fender again. You know, I don't want to ruin a brand new fender. You know, it'd be kind of sucky to, you know, put all this work into the mini bike and then have, you know, it, you know, heat up and melt in like a week, you know, and have the same stupid hole that the last one did. So it cost me about 75 bucks, you know, to have something shipped here before Christmas that I can get on the bike that has a smaller silencer on it. I think it's gonna be quieter. I don't think the mini bike's gonna be as loud as it was, which is good, you know, for our neighbors. This one routes differently so that it's not gonna be in the way of anything, especially when I put the header wrap on it. It's gonna be perfect. It's not gonna melt anything, and it's gonna look really good. You know, other than that, to keep this video from going on for like, you know, another half hour, you know, if you guys have enjoyed this build, you know, subscribe to the channel, you know, drop a like, you know, comment on it. You know, I've had really a lot of fun doing this for the kid, and I can't wait for the next video when we put it all together. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.